Go. Good day, everybody. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. Can you believe another week has rolled by? Oh my gosh. It just is amazing to me how fast time rolls, whether you're in a house or a van. Let me tell you, it just keeps cruising on. Welcome to another What's Up Wednesday. My name is Scott. This is the weekly van life RV show, kind of helping you be a better RVer. And man, we got a big show for you tonight, like we do every week. And let me just kind of run through quick what we're going to see tonight, because it is pretty exciting what we have on the docket for you. First of all, I'm coming at you live from Route 66, just outside of St. Louis, in this cute little town called Eureka, Missouri, which is just so funny. I'm curious, where are you watching from? If you can let us know, we'd like to know where you're watching from. And if you're coming in from a cool country, or maybe not a cool country, I don't know, we'd like to show those that we have a really kind of an international audience here on Go Small, Live Large, which is pretty awesome. And we have Route 66 events coming up starting this weekend. We've already done one last week. We got another one coming up this weekend. So be prepared and go to my website, Go Small, Live Large, and you get the all the details there. We're doing a caravan and we're doing a roundup on the same day. Eventbrite tickets are required so I can keep track of who's coming and going. And we are on the move. Go Small, Live Large, literally the route plan for the rest of the year. This is really ambitious. It's about 2,600 miles doing Route 66 out of Chicago to LA. I'm about 400 miles in, so I need to get moving. So follow us, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to get van content, travel stuff of that nature. Special guests, we like to have special guests on our show, and we have a great one tonight. This is Chris and Sandy. They are Travato owners. They work from the road, and this is their rig, so we'll be talking to them here just shortly. Upcoming special guests, we've had Jack. He's the CTO and co-founder of Volta, the Pure 3 lithium-ion system that I have in my rig. They've gotten certified recently. If you're probably familiar with Underwriters Laboratory, well, there's a whole series of similar certifications that they have been approved for. And I've asked Jack to come back on the program and talk specifically about what those certifications are, why it's important to you, and what it's going to mean for the industry, as they are just one of the leading lithium battery providers. So August 12th, Jack's going to join us. And stay tuned. Don't miss anything. Instagram. I'm doing daily stuff out of Instagram that you'll never see on YouTube. So follow me on Instagram and get our newsletter coming out twice a week. Posted today, 2,600 miles to California, and getting really good response from everybody. So thank you for being patient with me as we try a new way of doing videos here on Go Small, Live Large. And this video you will not want to miss. This is coming out on Saturday. This is a stealth adventure van tour on a Ford Transit from a small builder in Chicagoland, Rover Vans. And wait until you see this thing. If you think the Rebel bed is kind of cool and a big old Sprinter, wait till you see what this guy did in Transit. It's amazing. Speaking of amazing, here is Embassy RV this week, tomorrow, July 22nd, 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern. Terry Mannix, VP, is going to talk about the innovation they put into the craftsmanship and the build out of their vans. 3 floor plans, 3 chassis. You choose what's best for you. We might even have a little tiny sneak peek video in the morning about this, but do not miss us tomorrow, exclusive Embassy RV. And we have a viewer question of the week, pretty amazing. RV News headlines, song of the pick, a whole lot going on. And with that, I want to bring on to our show tonight our special guests, and this is Chris and Sandy from Beyond Intention. Waiting for this to click over. Come on, you can do it. There it goes. There you are, Chris and Sandy in the house, about 1,000 miles away. How are you guys?
Very good. Excited to be on here. I'm usually always watching What's Up Wednesday from the van anyway, so it's kind of cool to be on screen.
Well, it's just a delight to have you. So I met you folks at one of our channel roundups back in January 2021. After the Tampa RV show. Maybe just kind of introduce yourselves to the folks a little bit. What kind of rig do you have? And
Sure.
let's start there. I got a few questions for you, and this is all about the live Q&A tonight. So, folks, what makes these folks special is our working couple from a van like me. They travel with a cat. But do some quick introductions, but get those questions rolling in for Chris and Sandy.
You know, we actually met in December. 2 weeks after we picked up our van. We flew from Ohio to Arizona to buy one of the last 21s because we love that dinette table. I know that's a hot topic. And we rocketed to Florida to see you at one of your roundups right before she started a contract down there.
Yeah, so I'm Sandy. I'm a
Wow.
travel labor and delivery nurse, and we've been full time for 7 months now.
Just over 7 months.
Just over 7 months. We met Scott 2 weeks into our full time van life adventure.
And I had been watching Scott for a long time. I started watching, I think, September like 2019. So I was studying these vans, and we ended up with a 2021 GL, and it's the National Parks Edition. And then we snagged up one of those. She's a travel
which
nurse.
is a great van, right?
I'm the pit crew, so I just I cook and clean and make sure we're ready for the next adventure when she gets home from work. Take care of the cat while she's gone. That's my job.
That is so nice. That's cool. That's a great job. Nice to have staff, right, Sandy?
Yeah, I got to have the pet crew, or I couldn't do what I do. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. So we have quite a few folks coming in tonight. Here's Jane coming in from Illinois, I bet. Apparently the husband is mowing the grass. That's great. So it's actually Jane this time. Here is a traveling Slim in his Solus, which is really cool. Really like the Solus. We did a video on that. Here's Louisville, Kentucky. Just spent some time in there, and that is a great town. I love. You're gonna see some videos about that. It's just a great town. And Michael Clark is coming in at us tonight. Good to see that. Fellow GL owner. He's going to be seeing us on the southwest leg of Route 60. I know, GLL Owners Unite. So great. Jane's again in Illinois, and Michael's in Arizona. Here's Southern Maryland. Holy cow, Salty Medic. That's a pretty cool cat. Met him at the Tampa show. So maybe just tell us a little bit about working from the road. Maybe just explain, Sandy, a little bit about what a traveling nurse is. How often do you travel? How do you find the work? I've met a few traveling nurses on the road myself. Maybe just give us a little 101 on what that is and how the van has either enabled or made it more tough as a traveling nurse. What would you be doing if you weren't in a van, for example?
Yeah, so I've been a travel nurse for about 1.5 years now. What that means is basically I do contract work, usually 13 weeks at a time, which can extend longer. Some of them are shorter if there's, an emergency or a fast, like a rapid call. But I literally just apply. I get a phone call, interview with the manager, and if she likes me and I like her, I'm like, yeah, I'll come out. I'll work at your hospital and help, moms deliver babies for 13 weeks. And it's really that easy. Like the first time we sold our house, sold our goats, and just we're driving in my Honda Accord packed to the brim, including the cat. And we're driving to Florida, and we're like, do we really have a job at the end of this? Is there somewhere we're going? And I showed up at the hospital on Monday. They put me in scrubs and tossed me on the floor. And I'm like, here I am.
And you're usually there to cover a need like a maternity leave. They need to fill space while a nurse is out on maternity leave, or an area that's growing really fast. They can't hire people on quick enough or get them trained fast enough. She's there to fill that gap. Yeah, they need somebody who knows what they're doing right away.
Yeah, labor and delivery, but really all specialties of nursing take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to really be even independent, and then to be competent it takes several years. So I've been in labor and delivery for a little over 4 years now, and you could pretty much toss me into most situations and I'll be able to handle myself. And that's what they need sometimes, is somebody who has that experience and who's able to pitch in, and they're willing to pay top dollar for it. So
that's what put us in the van. We started traveling in the back of a 2017 Honda Accord, cat and all, doing Airbnb. So it was a little more, traditional travel. We'd try to book something for 3 months here, 3 months there, and we were able to find a couple of them. Well,
furnished apartments for 3 months
with a cat was the big deal, and even a hotel with a cat. So we started looking more at the RV thing. And there's a lot of travel nurses that use RVs. And I had been actually, before that whole thing, watching your videos about the van, thinking, oh, well, that'd be cool one day if we didn't have a house. And it just clicked.
I'm pretty sure he tricked me into this somehow. This was his plan all along.
That is so awesome. You guys are so funny. That is great. So it's actually, maybe you've saved a little bit of money. Is that a fair assumption? Van versus the other way?
Yeah, I'm really into finances. I'm really into money details and stuff like that, so I won't get into it. But we definitely would save if I wasn't just dumping all the money onto the van. I'm going to pay the van off very, very quickly.
The van's what enables us to go make extra money, because we weren't, well, you weren't making what we were at home in a regular staff job, what we can do now out on the road. You sacrifice a little bit of stability and you're away from family and friends and that sort of thing, but bonuses, a little more money, but you get to see the country, you learn a lot, all these different hospitals.
Yeah. Pay-wise, travel nursing is usually about double what you might make as a staff nurse somewhere. Benefits, you know, some companies have really good benefits, some companies don't, and that just depends on, you know, what you're going with. But everybody has something on offer, so it just depends on what you want to get into as far as like travel nursing. But the van has made us so flexible. The Airbnbs that we were doing, it was so hard. You had to pack up everything and your kitchen sink, because Chris is a huge on cooking. He's a very good chef. He provides 3 square meals a day for me. But so we literally had so much stuff in this car, and it was for 3 months. You dump it all out in the Airbnb and then you pack it all up and leave. And if you didn't have a job, it's like, where do I go next? Where do we go from here? And with the van, we don't care anymore. We're like, where do we go from here? Target?
Honestly, our last contract in Miami, she worked 3 days in a row, well, nights, but 3 nights in a row. I actually stayed in the van. They had a back parking lot. I stayed in the van in the back parking lot. And on our 4 days off, we just find somewhere to adventure to, end up back at the hospital for those 3 days, put the shades up. Nobody even knew I was there.
Isn't that amazing? That is so great. It's such a great way to roll. I'm so proud of you. It's just great. We've got some good questions coming here. Let me just give a shout out here to Sherry watching from Wisconsin. She's a big friend of the channel on Embassy RV. She's getting her van here very soon. Flagler Beach, Florida, of course. Thank you. And here's, this is the top of the hour. Let's go. Here's Arkansas Tracy. That's great. Let's see. Bobby wants to know when we're going to be in Oklahoma City, fixing to run up there with you. A couple weeks. I'm going to be in Tulsa next week, and then we're doing Oklahoma City. So hang tight. Check out my website. Alabama. I don't know if I've been to Huntsville. Have you guys been to Huntsville?
No. Never. We've gone through just the bottom tip of Alabama, but
I don't know if I've been to Huntsville. That's really interesting. Stafford, Virginia, coming to the house tonight. Streamwood, hello. A lot of new names tonight. This is really great. Scott, what's up, man? Good to see you. Springfield, Missouri. We're going to be there this next week. Oh my gosh, we got a roundup on Sunday, this Saturday, at Mother's Brewing Company. I can't wait to get the know behind the name of that company, right? So hopefully you can join us for that. I saw a couple good questions in here. Havasu, standby. And I should have said this, but if you put your question in the format of 3 asterisks followed by 3 question marks, it helps me find it a little more readily. Here's a good example of Sherry here. So Sherry wants to know, Chris and Sandy, do you work days or evenings? And if evenings, is it hard for sleep during the day? And what does Chris do in the tiny space when you're, I guess, sleeping and working or working? Good question. What do you think?
Number one question I get every single day, everywhere I go, what does Chris do while you're at work? And I have no idea. I really don't know. But I can work both days or nights. So my last 2 contracts in the van have been night shift. And I'm a heavy sleeper, so it really hasn't been an issue. But also we have the GL, so it's so easy to turn the air conditioner, run the air conditioner on all day, whether we're in a parking lot or whether we're at our campground. I've done both. I've slept in the most random of places. Let's not even talk about that.
And as far as what I do off of work, you know, with the GL too, I can drive her to the parking lot somewhere. Like we did our last contract. The regular routine was she'd hop in the van after work. We'd drive out to you know, a little more populated area, end up in the parking lot where I had a laundromat accessible and a Home Depot and a
like
grocery store, you know, and park the van way out back. And I'd go around, do chores, fold the laundry, that sort of thing, have it all ready by the time she got back up, ready to make her omelet in the morning, because that's my main job, is keeping her fueled and ready to go. Because she works long shifts, and it's hard on night shift. It's just hard to do anything but work and come home, and she's got to have somebody to back her up when she's here and keep her juiced up for 3 or 4 days of that every week.
I'm pretty useless when I'm not at work. I have no skills.
It's so great. So most of you know that I run solo most of the time, and Kyle was with me for the last week, and there are so many things to do, and just splitting the tasks, even just as simple as navigating, right?
Yeah.
Is just
Yes.
I just can't believe what having a co-pilot, a wingman, what a difference it makes. So I'm glad you're a heavy sleeper. So is he. He takes the back bed. I get the front bed, and it's just such a great floor plan for two people. So we got a
That's
lot of
why
folks.
we
So we
worked
got
so
Sherry
hard to
coming in
go out
from,
and get the one. Sorry.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's so incredible. Fort Worth in the house tonight. Look at that. Kathy from California, suburban Chicago. Just left Chicagoland until next year. Kind of glad to be out of Chicagoland. Oh, here's Susan. So they got a Tab 400. These
Oh,
are
those are
really cool
cute.
rigs. You can see it on the screen a little bit. They're really cool. There was one here yesterday. They are really nice. They're made in kind of Indiana and maybe even Ohio, Indiana, I think, and Amish, very much Amish built and really, really quality. So good question, Sherry. Let me ask you another question here. As you are kind of traveling around, as you think back to your RV purchasing experience, I think we're both pretty fortunate to have purchased RVs before all this craziness going on. But what else did you look at from RVs? Why did you land on a Travato? I'm just kind of curious what that process was like because there's so many vans available now, options.
Honestly, the progression was I was watching a couple who live on a sailboat on YouTube, and for some reason it recommended me a Winnebago Travato, and I found I think it was Van Trekking Lifestyle. I watched one of their videos, then it showed me you, and it was one of the videos right after you picked up Lily. And I think I just binge watched through that whole thing, and we hadn't even thought about traveling or RVing or anything yet. And this van, it's a spaceship, it's a shuttle, it's a space shuttle, and for land living. And we looked around once we did start traveling. Once we were in the car doing the Airbnb thing, we thought, do we want to get a truck and a trailer, spend the same money,
I
end up
tried
with
really
two
hard to
vehicles?
talk him out of the van, just cost wise. Like, I'm like, it's such a small thing. Why does it cost more than everything else? And it turns out it really doesn't. I think it's a little more expensive, especially depending on what you purchase. But when you work out everything, the total that you would have to pay for a truck and a trailer and maintenance on that and quality of the trailer, and I think the van obviously was the better way to go, and that's what we picked.
And the benefits of the Volta system on top of that and sort of thing. We ended up getting out of our house and getting into the Travato, and it enables us to do what we do. And I don't think I could do it another way. This is the only RV we've ever had, and when we wear it out, I don't know if I could do something other than this class. The magic of being able to fit in one parking spot just is incredible.
Yeah. I just don't think that.
And
you can RV in lots of ways, but the van is the magic. It really is. Being able to go in these small places. We've been in the weirdest, all the way down Key West in these tight little circumstances, these weird off like trail type roads.
Our power move is trailheads. We like the places that allow dispersed camping where you're going to park overnight anyway and walk off in the woods. So what do they know? We're in the van. We didn't walk into the woods and park. So we tend to do that. A lot less populated.
It's fascinating. Whenever I'm in a place where there's other RVers, Lily, the van, gets so much attention. Now she looks a little different than others. That's part of it. But everybody that's dragging something behind them always comes up and says, "How do you do it?" I'm like, it's really kind of easy. It's just prioritization. You got to be organized. Chris is great at organizing. We're going to show some of that later tonight. But it just astounds me, these people with these Ford 350s pulling 40 feet of RV behind them or more, and
you watch them work so hard to get set up and putting everything out, and by the time they get it all there, you're like, oh, time to pack it up and drive back to suburbia, and you pull in with the
it's just,
turn on the air conditioner and just watch them. You don't even have to plug in.
Watch the big TVs that pop up out of the fake fireplace, and it's just two people usually, and a little dog. The bigger the rig, the
Yeah.
smaller the people and the dog, I've discovered.
Yeah.
And the smaller the rig, the bigger the people and the bigger the dog. It's somebody needs to come up with some psychology on that. But so how many miles on your rig now?
We just rode over 12,000.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are just babies. Oh my gosh, just babes in the woods.
That was hard for us.
Any big issues, good or bad? Small issues, no issues. What's good and bad about your Travato so far?
Oh, good and bad. Honestly, when we first started thinking about getting the Travato, we were going to go with the standard model and not the lithium. And now that we have the lithium, I have to say good. The lithium. I mean, it is the future. And I know you say this all the time on the channel, Volta, Volta, Volta. It's such a difference being able to just push a button and have everything you need. And I definitely see why that's such a big deal. Being in the Travato, the campground we're staying at right now, all the seasonal sites are responsible for mowing their own lawns, and the guy in front of us launched a rock out of a mulcher mower, took out our windshield. And this is good and bad. Glass came in the van, it hit so hard. But one of the good things about it being a van and not a bespoke RV, we could have it serviced at Safelite, and they happen to have the glass. By the way, Safelite has auto glass if you happen to need an RV. Which there's a nationwide back order. Amazon buys them up all the time, I guess. But we ended up getting new glass in, and that was pretty good. We didn't have to go to RV service, and that's the biggest bad is trying to get RV service at an RV dealer, which we had a very bad experience with, and still have work to do on a couple little warranty things that aren't really a big deal, but should have been taken care of a little better.
So brand new, the van had like 2 or 3 pretty small, like quality control type stuff, nothing major. This table was a little wobbly, which Chris has actually since fixed because it's just easier to do it yourself in some ways. The only issue that's ongoing is our awning arm is broken. We waited for 3 months for parts to come in, and the guys had ordered the wrong parts at the RV dealership. So that's really the only like big issue that we've had. And then now that was back in March, and now we just haven't had the time to take it back in to get it serviced again. And I know some of this is because of COVID, because of the delays in getting parts
and the demand. There's so many new RVs being built, and so many parts are going into new rigs. And
but overall, we have not really had any issues with the van itself or anything that I would be concerned with. It's a van first. You have to think through that when you purchase it. It's a van first.
Right.
It's built to go on the road. It's built to move. It's built to rattle, and hopefully stay together. And so far, ours has done very well.
Yeah, it's amazing. I give this crowd a little sneak peek. Living in it since February 2019, stuff like 29 months continuous living. Think how many times I've emptied the tanks, filled the tanks, flushed the toilet, opened the fridge door. It's been running 24/7 since October of 2018, except for about maybe 3 weeks when I had to fly to Europe. And it's just so bulletproof. And I actually had a factory service appointment in Forest City, Iowa, at Winnebago factory. You book them about 2 to 3 months, so you really got to plan around it. And I didn't really want to go back to Forest City, and I kept counting down to this service date, and I like, there's nothing for them to do on this van with 75,000 miles, living in it for almost 30 months. I'm like, so I actually canceled my appointment. I'm going to do a little video on it because I think speaks to the robustness of how well these things are kind of well put together. There's the one horror story on the internet all the time, but we got some good questions coming here. So let me get to some of those. So here's RC. Used to be a traveling nurse. That's kind of interesting. And here's Wisconsin in the house. And this is Sherry saying, good to see you on the show. I guess
AP must be
about the other way around, right? Yeah, right. She's getting a new Nova, so congratulations. So excited for that. Virginia, we said that. Yeah, Coachman's are really nice. Michael wants to know, hey, Scott, since you started your van life, how long do you spend at home base a year compared to 2 years? More or less the same. This might be a good question for you guys, too. So I go to Florida home base for the holidays, and they're usually right around Christmas, and then I leave the second week in January to go to the Tampa RV show. It's over in Tampa versus the West Palm Beach side of Florida, and then after that I'm on the road again. This year was a little bit of an anomaly, but because of I didn't really leave Florida until probably early April, but that entire time, December through April, I was in the van most of the time with Kyle because the houses were booked, our Airbnb properties, and that's what caused him to actually buy an RV. So even though we were at home base, we were living in the van in his mom's driveway. And you guys are kind of at home base-ish, right? Right now too, aren't you at some family?
Yeah, my mom is actually
And
a
you just
camp
kind of
host
roam around a little bit like that?
Yep, my mom is actually a camp host at Mosquito Lake State Park here in Northeast Ohio, and we're staying there for a little while. And I'm actually in my uncle's driveway getting the good Wi-Fi right now. That's the van life struggle, good Wi-Fi. But we're just now settling into a rhythm, really, as far as ending up back at home base and not with 3 months in a given space at a time. We tend not to for that period. If it works out that we have a week or two in between, we shoot back or fly back. And really, we've only been back 2 or 3 times since traveling. But now that we're in the rig, it's a little different because we can work out a little bit and work back home and work out another direction and work back home.
Yeah, we really spend very little time at home.
Yeah, this is home.
Yeah, right. It just kind of gives you so much flexibility, and it's amazing how fast the time flies. And I don't know about you guys, but the more I'm out on the road, the more I'm like, there's so much to see and do.
Yeah.
It's just like something I gotta go back to Florida in December. I'm actually kind of rethinking that this year. I don't know. Because you're way in that corner of the country. That's a long way down there.
You got to work your
like
way all the way back
way
out.
Up in that corner. I'm like, no. It's just like, oh my goodness. So here's Spokane Steve. He's still waiting for his van. Hang in there, buddy. He'll get it. Hopefully by the time I get there, you'll have yours. Sherry wants to know, dream location for getting a nursing job. Good question. Seasonal weather.
I think we want to go to Alaska.
That's one of the big ones.
Yeah, there's lots of jobs out there. It's just so far away, so it's a daunting prospect to actually go. But I think that's my dream location.
There's a lot to see in the contiguous 48. You know, we'll do a loop around the east this time, maybe out west a year later, and but we'll work up toward Alaska.
That is one place you will not see me. There's I'm an urban cowboy. I don't want to see the moose and the whatever else is up, the bears and stuff.
I want to go.
Like you say, just getting up there is kind of a project, right?
Yeah.
I know you guys that's so funny. Let's see. So Matt, we're at the bottom of the hour already. Can you believe that?
Wow.
So we're going to put some screen. So we always like to give you guys the option. If you're needing to bug out, you can do that, or we can just keep rolling. What do you want to do?
I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to us. This is what we're doing.
Okay, that's cool. And before I jump on this next question, which is a really good one about the new floor plan, if you haven't subscribed to Chris and Sandy's Instagram, what is your Instagram again? It's Beyond
Intention, right down here.
There you go. Okay. And you just spun up a YouTube channel. So this is what Chris is going to be doing when Sandy's at work. I was very proud to be subscriber number 12 tonight. So you got some really cool stuff on there already. And let's blow up their YouTube channel. So everybody go and subscribe to Chris and Sandy tonight and show them what this is all about. It's all about community, really, fellowship and just learning together. That's what it's all about for me.
Class B people, especially
love that.
RV people, so great,
right? Yeah, it's just so awesome. So, and give a thumb up if you're kind of enjoying this tonight. Appreciate that. Comment below. We got some good comments coming here. Let's look at this one. I'm gonna let you guys answer this. I've kind of put my 2 cents worth out there. So Matthew wants to know: do you think the upgrades to the 2022 Travato are worth buying new? Chime in first. I'll give my 20 cents worth.
Well, my opinion, I think, is largely going to be the same as Scott's. There are good things about the 22, and there are things that are different about the 22. And if that's the one you can get, you're gonna love it. I don't want to be too negative about the 22 because it's different than what we really were after being in here full time. We wanted the 4 different the dinette seat, the jump seat. I would very much miss the jump seat if it weren't here. The thing with the water unit opening the
The
doors.
22 is a very nice van. Get out. No. The 22 is a very, very nice van. It just depends on how you're going to use the space, because we wanted the big dinette table was a big issue for us. That smaller table that moved around was not going to satisfy us.
And you could mod it out.
We fill this thing up every day. We have stuff on it, and then we clean it all up and we drive off, you know, so that was a big thing for us. And we had been planning and dreaming on the 21 or the that older floor plan for so long that the change to us felt a little painful, because we wanted a newer van, and we're like, well, we can't get that one because it doesn't fit
pushed
with our
us
goals.
We were going to wait another 6 months or a year before even buying a van, and they announced the changes, and we're like, we have to get it now. It was that big of a deal to us. But the 22s are great vans, and there's other vans besides the Travato, and it really, our biggest advice to people RVing is manage your expectations, know what you're after, and think that stuff through, and make sure it's the right one for you.
And most importantly, get out there, because you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you end up in, if you planned it out ahead of time and you at least sat in the space and tried it to make sure you're going to like it, traveling is so much fun. It's worth it. The van is a part of the experience, but really getting out there and seeing the things is the overall, like, this is what you're here for.
Yeah, you live out of the van, right? Not in it.
Right. But I think any Travato is worth buying. A used Travato, a 2022. You know, the 2022 will be a little more suited to colder environments, just because I think they've built some more stuff inside. Yeah. But it just depends on what you want out of your rig.
Really think through your use case, as Scott would say.
Yeah. You guys answered all my buttons. Good job. Yeah. My biggest thing is just, you know, why do you want an RV? How does an RV system enable that? And then that kind of dictates what kind of RV do you want. And, you know, there's no perfect, I love Sandy's, just get in gear and get it going. Because if the used ones might be a little more immediately available, but if you're placing an order today, you're waiting 6 to 12 months. You just never know. There was a, let me do a quick visual aid. Step away. It's a great thing about a van. Everything is one arm length away. So I heard a really good analogy, and we like to measure things. We haven't done this in a long time. So it was actually a Boondocker Welcome gentleman I was staying, and he was talking about this thing about getting into the van, and he was getting a lot of naysayers, and his wife wasn't fully on board. And one of his colleagues had this really visual analogy. And if you have a measuring tape, this is actually, I'm going to do a video about this. So another sneak peek. So what he did, his friend took the measuring tape and he asked his friend, so how long do you think you're going to live? The guy was like 60. And he's like, I'll probably be a functional 80 years old, right? So the guy ran the measuring tape out to 80 inches. And he goes, you are at 60 inches. You have 20 inches left. And I'll bet those last 10 are not going to be as awesome as the next 10, 60 to 70 years old. And that's what caused that guy to get off his rear end and get in gear. And man, is that a visual for getting your program going? And I just love to see this younger demographic getting into RVs, because it's, you can work from these. There's so many use cases. But isn't that a great idea, though, is to roll the tape out. How long do you think you're going to live? And where are you at today? I should go like this, right? So you can see it. I know, right? It's like, oh my God, that's woo. I need more
reverse retiring.
Clearly,
that's what we tell people all the time, is that we're sort of reverse retiring. We're doing it now while we can use it to make money, rather than waiting who knows how long or how much the world's going to change. These rigs are here now. They're functional. They do such amazing things. If you can find a way to do it soon, and don't put off the experience you want to have. That's what beyond intention. Yeah. That's why we talk about beyond intention. You need to take your goal beyond intention, because you can intend to do something your whole life and never do it.
That's super clever. I love that. Did not know that. Great questions. Rolling in here, Terry. Audience Angel, help me mod out my bathroom shower, which I love. I showered 3 times in the place I'm at.
I've got the new faucet back there. I'm gonna track him down.
We just picked up our drill from home. That's what we were waiting for.
That's the next big mod, is the shower.
Yeah. What else besides that do you have on your list? Any ideas?
Really, I haven't. I'm kind of a bone stock guy. We add, it's just little stick up stuff, a power strip here, a 3M hook there. We actually just ordered custom shelves, I guess, for this wardrobe cabinet on the, I'll mention the Travato Owners Wannabe group, even though they didn't post our link. But there's a company you can order a custom cut shelf height for, and put shelves in that wardrobe closet that stack up just right. So nothing. I'm not poking any holes or
We're still new. We're still settling
Yeah.
in, seeing what we like, and we like our stock pretty much. There's not a whole lot I would do other than our organization. Our shelves is the biggest thing for us.
Yeah,
And
it's just
dang sink
I keep
faucet.
thinking about things to do, and I'm like, unless rebuilding the galley, that's the only thing that gives me anyway. So here's another great question. Then we'll do our question of the week. So Fear wants to know, how do you get your mail and packages living in a van? That's a great question.
Well, if we're going to take that first, the way that we travel 3 months at a time, it just happens to work out really well with post office boxes because you can rent one for 3 months. We've got one in New York now, and we make sure to get the premium addressing or whatever, where you can get you get an actual street address, so you can get any kind of package and they'll hold it for you. And it's actually worked out really well. Some of our official stuff still goes back to home base, where we rent a room to keep some books and stuff we didn't want to move around with the van. But that's the main way we do it. Although you do have the option of like Amazon lockers, which can come in handy when you're really on the move.
Or just stop getting mail. It's way better. It's it's so nice not having the stress of like all that stuff coming in.
Right. And the other thing is, there's so much can be done electronically these days. Man, if you're not set up for electronic banking, and we're actually selling our condo in Chicagoland, and I don't have to be present.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really getting, that's one good thing that came out of COVID. It kicked everybody in the rear about doing virtual stuff. And so much is available virtually now.
All right. I'll actually mention for if you're being even more nomadic, we were actually considering moving our residency to South Dakota. You can get a mail forwarding service there as your legal address. It was America's Mailbox, I think it was called. And they'll scan your mail, show you pictures of it, even open stuff if you want. But you have a physical address there that you can put on your driver's license, and that's one of the ways that the real nomads do it.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, and they can forward to whatever address.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about home base. And I have staff there. Kyle picks it up every few weeks in between guests. So let's look at our viewer question of the week. We love to do these because these come in from a random sources, whether emailing me or on the YouTube here. And I just love to call out some of these really interesting questions. So this one is coming from Wes. Let me just zoom in so everybody can see this here. From Wes in Aledo, and I don't know if it's Texas or Illinois. I think there's two different Aledos, if that's even how you say it. Wes wants to know, do you know of a site that I would be able to learn how to use the Jensen system to stream video from an iPhone or a tablet? And Chris kind of mentioned this, the Travato Owner Bees and Wannabes Facebook group is kind of the Wikipedia for everything Travato. If you haven't been there, I would search first. They're very adamant about searching because every question ever wanted to know has been asked. So search first. And if you don't find an answer, then I would post there because there's probably somebody that's figured it out. What I'm doing and what I'm going to show you here is I actually use an Apple TV. So I have an Apple TV that I HDMI into the TV itself. It's one of the open ports, and I stream through that. Now it does need Wi-Fi, whether you're at a campground or I have my jetpack, and it works out beautifully. So that could be an ulterior solution, but I am not aware that the Jensen would actually allow you to do what you're wanting to do there. So that's why I recommend the Travato Owner and Wannabe Facebook group, because somebody's probably posed that question. There might be an answer or not. Chris, you're a pretty smart guy with this kind of stuff. Any suggestions or?
So we're not. What started us on this journey really is that we got rid of our television in like 2008. We haven't watched TV so we'll still use the computer or the iPad for some stuff, but we find it's pretty convenient to use the computer or the iPad for that versus up on the wall. One of my mods soon will be to remove that whole thing, the TV, the Jensen. I would use it as a picture frame, maybe. Like if I could stream some nice pictures I've taken up onto the TV, but that's all coming out. I'll just put books or electronic stuff up there.
The Jensen's difficult.
The Jensen is not a user-friendly product.
Yeah, it's kind of I have a love-hate thing. So I use mine Bluetooth all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the fact we have speakers outside. So if I'm outside working, I can still have, and it doesn't require the inverter to be on, which is awesome. Yeah. I use my Apple TV largely for a picture frame, as you say, with rolling artwork.
I recommend in
I
the
use my
Facebook
iPad.
group, every time someone asks about the Jensen, I post a picture of our JBL wireless speaker. I'm like, you can take this with you to the beach. It sounds good. Just put it next to your head if you want it to be. So,
It's pretty loud.
yeah.
It is.
And let's look at the RV News headline. This is kind of interesting here. I'll zoom in so people can see it. So we see a lot of headlines about shortages and sales are going off the world. This comes from a source I'm not familiar with. This was a Google news headline. Jallo, I don't even know how you say it, but it kind of captured my curiosity. This was kind of a car culture site. And what it talks about, the headline there is Vanlifers are parting ways with their vans as the world reopens. And some call-outs in the article are van life is not as expected. And I love this one, the unrealistic imagery on social media. Everybody takes a picture of their back doors open with the beach, but it's probably just a parking lot next to Santa Monica Pier, something like that. They complained about, the article said people complained about internet access, parking lots, resources. Many were selling their vans. That helps those that want them. And the return to a daily routine into the office was many of those folks finding more comfort in that. I'm just kind of curious if you guys have any thoughts on that, or it's kind of adapting a different way to live for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my biggest thing, and this is true in everything, not just van life, but life is what you make it. And when I was starting college out to be a nurse, I was, on the internet posting questions, looking into it. And I swear I had all of the nurses I talked to said, don't be a nurse, it's terrible. And that was really hard for me because I was putting a lot of energy behind, going to college. I was working at the time. It was very stressful. And I'm just like, is this really a good choice for me? And I was very scared that it wasn't. And turns out it's the only reason I can do what I want to do. I love it. I love my job. I love being a nurse. And, some of that is the ability to not be afraid to chase what I wanted. I was able to make nursing what I wanted it to be. I chased after the specialty that I thought I would like. And, I fit there. And that's true with van life as well. Like, if you spend the time and the effort to figure out what it is that you want, try it out a little bit, and then have realistic expectations of what that's going to look like. So if you've never been camping, if you've never been, mobile, if you've never had to have any frustrations as far as like, I can't even think
where
of a
do you find
specific
internet?
example.
Whatever that thing is, you have to be open to accepting the new challenges that you're going to have, because there aren't more challenges. They're just different challenges than living in a home.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like in a house.
And living in a home is not without its challenges, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, we needed new windows, and that stressed me out all the time because I feel like it was always raining just to taunt me. Like, you need new windows in this house. And when we bought the van, it's like there's something else, but clearly it's not new windows. The windows are golden.
So amazing, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I find that just the case. People abandoning van life. They're selling like hotcakes. People can't get their hands on them, and there's a split in van life. There's van life and there's living in a van, and it seems like the people who had this picture in their head of what it was going to be like weren't really sold on the idea to begin with.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a very different way to RV. There's no medals, no awards, as you know, for living in a van. It's just that it fits your lifestyle perfectly, and it fits my lifestyle perfectly. I'm so excited to be doing Route 66. And you would not believe, since I've been talking about this for a few weeks and now actually doing it, people have said, well into their 80s, going like, I have always wanted to do that. And I'm like, so why didn't you do it?
Get out there, get beyond intention.
I know, right? Get beyond intention. I love that. Never even clicked. I apologize. Susan's got a good question here. And Susan, you may need to restate this because I frankly don't quite understand what you're talking about here. So Susan goes, other than cost, is it easy to travel healthcare 8 in a van as opposed to a TT? Does that make any sense to you, Sandy?
Opposed to a travel trailer. Opposed to be a travel nurse. Easier to be a travel nurse in a van as opposed to in a trailer.
Gotcha.
I would probably say we're so much more nimble for the in-between times. If you're really settled at a campground, if you have somewhere you're going to be able to do the 3-month thing, but to have the ability to sneak off for 4 or 5 days when you don't have something stable, living in the hospital parking lot in Miami taught me that.
Easier is a relative term. So
Yeah.
some things are way easier, some things are way harder. So it depends on if there's two people traveling with you, like there are. So we actually travel with two vehicles to our
on the big trips.
Our big trips. So in some ways, a travel trailer would be easier with that, because you could pull the trailer, leave the trailer parked at the campground, and then take the truck to work. Versus, we'll drive the car and the van. Benny's going to visit us.
Yay!
Our Van Panther.
So we have to take two cars, but then it's easier when we're there because Chris can take the van out and he can do different stuff.
She can go to work and I'll say, oh no, home is in a different place this evening. Come on down this direction.
That's pretty wild. Let me send you a location. Check your phone.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I love this. So this is Kathy talking about beyond intention here, taking action. I always want to do some kind of camping van. Husband did not. After looking, binging on Travato Facebook and Scott's videos, stepped up and up the campaign of terror until we got the KL. So
good job,
congratulations, Kathy,
for
for making it happen. Yeah. For those of you with spouses on the sidelines, do the exercise here, right? Get the measuring tape out. How many inches do you that is really a visual. Let me tell you, that is some scary stuff. And by the way, it goes in the reverse. If you think you're gonna live to 80 and you're like 30 right now, it's like, look how much time I got. I got all the time in the world. What if you take the next 5 inches and do something really wacky? Right now you can work from just about anywhere. That may not be the case going forward for a lot of folks. So Sherry's got an interesting question here. This kind of goes into, is he gonna go up on top?
That's
his favorite spot.
So lucky he likes that spot. Luke never did figure it out. It's so amazing. It's so great. So Sherry from Wisconsin here wants to know, recently ran into a longtime RVer and they say hospital parking lots were a great place to stay there. Have you seen, folks, what's kind of the general policy?
I can understand that they would say that you're less likely to be noticed when you pull in that sort of thing for an overnight here or there, because of the visitors. And some people use especially rigs like this to visit their relatives who are in the hospital and that sort of thing. So you'll slide by. We've called ahead and done it before. Like, hey, Cindy called, hey, I'm a traveling nurse. I'm on my way to this place. What if I pull through? And they say it's all right. We did have even that night had a security guard call and the cop stopped
double
by.
Check.
But in general, it's not really usually hospital policy to allow.
I was going to say it's not kosher. Will they notice? Maybe not. So I guess it just depends on how stealthy you're willing to be and if you're willing to break the rules. Because I'm sure that most places probably don't technically allow it. But again, like he said, they don't, people are visiting relatives, that kind of thing going on. I think it's a matter of being appropriate, which is true if you're at a Walmart parking lot or a Cracker Barrel or wherever it is that you're staying. You have to be appropriate for the space. But overall, I would say that they tend to be safe because they tend to have security, but that also means you're more likely to get noticed.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'm with you. That's why I've just been leaning on the Boondockers Welcome program. And we have a gentleman that I encourage to go check that out. And, I just want to be someplace where I'm approved. Is that the right word? So it makes my comfort level just so much better.
I'm that way too.
Because then I can leave the lights on, right? Mm-hmm. Versus, hiding in the dark and rolling in at 10 and sneaking out at 5 a.m. They get my worst night of sleep ever is when I'm someplace I'm not maybe supposed to be. And so I've learned it's so much easier just to kind of do the right thing. And I loved your line of thinking there. So which is actually a good tee up for the viewer recommendation of the week. Look at this. This is Campground Reviews. Let me zoom in here for everybody to see it's a little bit bigger. So this is from Patrick. Recommends this campgroundreviews.com website. I had not really heard of this a whole lot. Curious if you had either heard of this before, Chris and Sandy?
I've seen it come up in Google searches when we're looking for places. I haven't used it myself, but I've definitely seen it around there.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on it just so I was more familiar. There's kind of a free version, and then there's a paid version. And what seems to be their claim to fame is they're focusing on national parks right now. which are kind of cool because they actually show you a map of the park and you can kind of see your spot and you can kind of get this little fancy thumbnail. And what they're able to do is through crowdsourcing, take lots of pictures and even video. And then as you, and to get the paid version, you get to see those videos and you get to see those photographs that have been taken by the actual users. So yeah, so it's really nice, but they're really focusing on the national campgrounds, followed by state, followed by commercial. So I roll in the reverse. I'm kind of doing the commercial, state, and nationals. So if you want to check this out, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. And as always, we love your recommendations. So we have a special email address for that. I'll zoom in there for you. So it's gsllviewerrecommendation@gmail.com. And there's so many things I don't know. And this is just what we do here is we learn, we share, and you decide what works best for you. And I think this is just another example of that. Couple more good questions coming over. Top of the hour here. We got, he's an MBRE. Really, you're going to see his van on van video he did last month. And we're going to see that very soon. Here's Sean. There's Ship Shawana Sean. He's a really cool cat, really into books. Cool dude. I met with him and I talked to him about Boondockers Welcome. And he's got a beautiful property in Shipshewana on a lake that I said this would be a lovely spot to host folks. And you earn points. So when he gets his van, he can earn those toward staying places. And Sean, thanks for sharing that with you, man. It's just really great to see it. That's really cool. So we kind of talked about this a little bit. Maybe just talk about, this is John from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Chris and Sandy, thoughts on new Travato features? What'd you like best about it?
So the new Travato, like the 22 Travato?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What do I like? What do I like best about it?
Recycling the water so you're not wasting coal to get hot.
That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yep, recirc. That's a good one. The you have a little more shoulder room in the bed. That's a positive.
Yeah.
I haven't actually been in one myself.
It's a Travato. It'll take you where you want to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best part.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because I am in them when I do tours. And when I get back in mine, it just feels like home. And when I get in others, it feels like I'm visiting somebody else's house. So I think a key is to go spend some serious time in the floor plan, carefully thinking through your day, your evening, your night, your wake-up routine for several days, maybe even through the week, and literally spend. If you're being chased out there by a salesperson, you've been in there for 10 or 15 minutes, I would actually go someplace else or tell that person, check back after lunch because I'm going to spend an hour in here and just think this through. Don't let them chase you in and chase you out. But be polite, of course. But if they just wanted you to get you to the sales manager's office to do some deals, it's like, I want to think this through. Can you just give me an hour, literally? Because I
definitely
think
take a little time with it.
Definitely.
I think we accidentally sat in one that was sold.
It was already sold, but
on a lot, and we didn't know that. We were just walking around the lot, and we just sat in there for quite a while. And eventually, they were like, "What are you guys doing in here? This vehicle is sold." And we're like, "Oh, okay."
But as far as the new one, I'll just say there's a reason we flew from Ohio to Arizona to pick up this one.
The 2021. You've said it enough. Hi, Mom.
I know Mom's chiming in.
We love you. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Thanks, Mom, for chiming in. Gary apparently has a 2022 GL, loves it a lot. And like we've talked about, man, if that floor plan works for you, all the more power. I'm just happy you're on the road doing what you want to do in it.
You still got the G magic.
Yep, exactly.
You like it, you like it. That's all there is to it.
Right. So we've got just a few minutes left. Let me zoom in here and talk about the viewer recommendation because this came from Chris and Kasandra. So let me, so I thought I was a pretty good RV organizer, but I have nothing on this guy. Chris, what are we looking at here? And why is this recommendation of the week? And what is the teddy bear cookie cutter thing in there? What's up?
Picking up, we talked earlier, the living with two people in the van, you have to, maximize how well you're using your space. Every shelf, I'm like, well, what goes in here? How do I keep it there? And I'm kind of a chaotic person at times, so I have to resort to structure like this, and it keeps me organized. These are the drawers in the G galley. And I found that at Target, these are actually really cheap. You can buy a whole stack of them, try different layouts, rearrange them. I've actually got them in the drawer under the bed too, and they fit really well. I did notch one of them so that it slides right underneath the drawer latch there, but you don't have to do that. They stay put really well. And
he asked you about the
teddy bear. The tea bear is actually a tea bag holder. We call it the tea bear. And you put your used tea bag on it to save it later. That's something that was my grandmother's. It always sat on her kitchen sink, and it lives there when it's not on my kitchen sink in the van. It comes with me when we travel the country.
That is so cool. Well, I've always thought it was a pretty good RV, organizer. This takes it to another level. Wait till you see the pictures. We're not going to show up tonight, but on the rack system that he did in the overhead cabinets. So this is giving me some new inspiration, and this is going to get my butt in gear because this is super impressive. And it does just reduce stress. When you put something back and you just know where to go get it, and then you go, and either way, if you just kind of make a rule, you take it, you put it back, and you just always know where it is. And just having the stress reduction of just knowing where things are. In the dark, I can go get something because I know exactly where it is at all times. It's so great, right?
While I'm going down the road, I lean back and grab it.
I just want to comment on the blue sponges in this picture. This is another van life hack that we have figured out. Chris has figured out.
Downsize everything.
Those are cut into halves or thirds. And the thing next to them are magic erasers too. Those are also cut into little cubes. And it's super useful to have the smaller sizes of them, but also you can throw them away a lot more often. So
they get nasty, you pitch them, you don't waste the whole thing.
So just a little conservation hack.
They don't take up as much room for a big bin of them in the back. Because I'm still traveling with stoneware dishes. I know that I'm the weirdo for that, but I actually have to wash dishes in the van. We eat too much meat and steak and grilled stuff.
Yeah, that's great. And I apologize, I have a little typo. That this is from Chris and Kasandra, not Patrick Young, who's made some great recommendations, but this is just really great. Almost the top there. Let me see if we got some good questions. Michael's got a couple questions. Hit me up over afterwards, Michael. I can help you with that if I can. Let's see. I'm just looking here. They bring us back here like this. And it's just amazing how fast this hour goes, isn't it? We had quite a few folks tonight.
Quick.
Give us a thumb up. Give Chris and Sandy a thumb up. And have you subscribed to their YouTube channel? Please do. And what is your YouTube channel? Beyond Intention, I'm assuming?
Everything's Beyond Intention, and I've got a bunch of stuff to put up there soon. So.
My internet is still lacking tonight. Let's see. Scanning for questions. There's a couple more that I thought. Here's one. Can you have your car hooked up to the van? You'd have to. There's Benny. Benny's better site.
We looked into it. It can be done. You have to watch your gross vehicle weight rating with the Travato because we're already so heavy. People tow boats and enclosed trailers pretty well. We looked into it. We probably could get away with to flat tow
a car or a Fiat, something tiny.
But we already have the Honda paid off, and we just convoy it. I call her on the noise canceling, and we'll chat back and forth.
Runs interference for me.
Yeah, somebody's coming up in the left lane.
I'm like, I want to get over, and he'll jump over first and let me out in the van.
That is super cool. Then, if you're not liking the kind of music that's being played in one vehicle, you can play your own in the other, right?
That's a big
That's a big difference.
Podcasts.
Yes.
So I, as I always do, I make the request. Again, this is how we share and we learn. And this comes from Chris and Kasandra.
I can tell you got all my emails. You asked the other day, you needed help for the GSLO recommendation email. I sent like 5, so you must have got them all.
I did. And you had so many great songs on here. I now need to do like a viewer recommendation playlist. If you haven't heard of these folks, I had never heard of them before. And that's why I like to do this stuff.
Band?
I just love music.
You don't know who the band is?
The band.
They're the
I
band.
know. I'm so bad, right?
I don't even. I can't.
But Acadian Driftwood is really a catchy tune. And Chris, tell us why you like this one and why you recommended this one.
It just so happens all of my favorite songs end up being about people, places, history, that sort of thing. The band, Robbie Robertson, was really great at telling stories like that. The Wait and the night they drove Old Dixie down and all that. Acadian Driftwood is a story of the Acadian people who were French Canadians who were deported basically during the French and Indian War, and they were sent to America, and they ended up working in sugar fields around New Orleans. And Acadian, Cajun, they became the Cajun people in the American South, and it tells the story basically of from the point of view of someone who was a part of that, talking about I got winter in my blood. They call my home the land of snow, and that's just one of my favorite all-time tunes by the band, who actually recorded a lot of their big songs in a pink house called Big Pink, not far from where we're staying in New York. I know someone down there in Woodstock usually watches the channel. He's probably like, Big Pink, it's over in Saugerties. I know exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I'd never really heard of him before, and this is really a catchy tune. I listened to it while I was putting some of this content together for today's show, and if you haven't listened to it, get your music player out and dial this up, because it's a really it's fascinating when you see the words scrolling by and see what they're actually singing. It is telling a story of a pretty cool story. Look at this one. Gigi saying, "Hey, great album." It's so cool. That is so great. Maybe one more thing tonight. I think we got. Yep. So we showed this last week, and this is the honorable mention because Benny is the pet pick of the week, and we get him live tonight. So there he is. There was another cat on a leash. Yeah, Van Panther Benny is so great. There was another cat here in the campground I'm at last night on a leash. 2 nights ago. It was Carol and Nate, and their cat's name was Wonton. It was the coolest. It was such a great cat. He just loved to be held.
People flip out. They're like, "Is that a?" It's like they've never seen. Is that a cat?
I know. It's like, yes. It's so funny, isn't it? So
It's
great.
a strange dog.
I know Kathy's giving me the OMG on the how do you not know that? Hey, that's what we do. We learn, we share,
Yes.
and then I'm like, now I'm just that much smarter. So thank you for that. But hey, with that, we just want to thank you both for joining us, taking time out, and I know the audience would just love meeting you too. We're going to do more of these, maybe once a month, whether you've been in 7 months, 7 years, 7 minutes in your van. I think there's so much to learn from each other, and this is not about me. This is about just us being better humans, being better travelers, being more comfortable in your van, helping you get beyond intention.
Hey.
So you can actually go take action, right? I mean, literally, get your measuring tape out and do that little exercise. And if you're 30 thinking you got 50 inches to go, man, let me tell you, there's a lot of people that dropped dead today. They didn't think they were, they're going to make it to 80.
And ending on that morbid note.
I know, right? Sorry about that. But it's so true. Just, kick yourself in gear. And if you need a spousal intervention, yeah, give me a shout out. My rates are pretty reasonable. But just thank you for YouTube for coming in. Again, Instagram, go to Beyond Intention, and on YouTube, let's blow up their YouTube channel. I was the 12th subscriber, just honored to be that. And we are growing like crazy right now. So if you know somebody that is kind of into RVing, if they're kind of looking at this stuff, if everybody referred Go Small Live Large to one of those people, we would double in probably a month. Go from 15,000, which is amazing, to 30,000. That would be incredible. You've got to know somebody that thinks you're crazy for thinking about RVing or thinking about it, and let's blow them up with why they should do it or consider it or support you by joining us on Route 66, right, all the way to California. I got 2,400 miles to go. Woo, it's a little daunting, but
I think you've about got my uncle sold on a Coachman.
They're so beautiful. They're so great. We got so much more stuff with those guys coming up too. So we got Embassy RV tomorrow, and then van tour on Saturday, and we're going to have a little sneak peek for Embassy tomorrow, I think, in the morning. So Chris, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate that, and thank each and every one of you for watching the live session, tuning. Great questions tonight, as always, and thanks for watching the replay. And until we see you soon, Chris and Sandy.
Oh, journey on.
Journey on. Thank you very much, everybody. We will see you on the small screen.